Rumors are that allegedly drewsidora suffered extreme abuse from her soon-to-be ex-husband, ralphpittman. What were these scary accusations? Well, I have some new information that may answer that question and more right after this. What's up, kinfolk? And welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, do me a favor and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, do me a favor and get notified, so you'll know whenever I upload new videos to the channel. Alright, kinfolk, come on into the house. We have a lot to talk about, and it centers around rumors that allegedly Drew suffered extreme abuse from her soon-to-be ex-husband, ralphpittman. What were the scary accusations? Well, I have some new information that may answer that question and more, and here it goes. Rumors are that allegedly drewsidora suffered extreme abuse from her soon-to-be ex-husband, ralphpittman. But how bad did it get? The source said, "This new information regarding Drew and Ralph's failed marriage is alarming. These never-before-heard details left everyone with their mouths open. Allegedly, Drew's abuse was so bad that it left her unable to perform simple day-to-day tasks. The ladies of Real Housewives of Atlanta are also said to be very stunned by these new developments." The source continued, "Behind the scenes, Ralph came off as the perfect gentleman, even after claims of infidelity. One housewife put it like this: it's like being around a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde figure without even knowing it." The source elaborated, "Rumors are even producers were stunned by this news and were surprised by Drew's abuse claims," ended the source. With the season now wrapped, it is unclear if any marital issues were caught on camera. However, sources believe some of those issues probably were. So, the question is, what type of extreme alleged abuse was Drew subjected to by Ralph? Well, Drew is claiming in a never-before-heard account that she allegedly suffered physical abuse from Ralph when he snatched a phone out of her hand, causing her to fall. Many were alarmed by this account, said the insider, because Drew is known to have had several surgeries regarding her feet. So, to know that Ralph could have caused potential even more harm to an already fragile body part shows his deep lack of concern for Drew's health and safety, ended the source. Another insider pointed out that Drew's claims that she also experienced emotional, mental, and financial abuse at the hands of Ralph. Another alleged detail that was startling, given the fact that before Real Housewives of Atlanta, Ralph may have been the sole breadwinner in the house, which may have ultimately led Drew trying to seek employment with Real Housewives of Atlanta to potentially escape the alleged financial abuse caused by Ralph. All sources agree that this new information was shocking and troubling. Again, sources are unclear whether Bravo filmed any of the alleged extreme mental and verbal abuse by Ralph on camera. However, if they did, said the source, Drew could potentially use the footage as leverage to make her divorce from Ralph quick and easy. Now, kinfolk, when this news broke today that Drew, from her own account, suffered a lot of mental anguish and even some alleged physical abuse from Ralph, many people were shocked and were surprised to find out this. People were surprised to find out that Drew was actually the first person to file for divorce from Ralph. The only thing is, Ralph was the first one to release it to the press. So that way he beat her to the punch, making it seem as if he was the first to file. However, people in Drew's camp say that Drew actually filed for divorce about an hour or so before Ralph did. Also, it was found out that they had an alleged agreement that they would give each other plenty of notice if one wanted to file divorce in order to make everything smooth and easy, and to, I guess, present a joint public statement on both of their behalves. Now, with that being said, it shows that the tables have turned a little bit. Maybe it was actually Drew who was so fed up with Ralph that she could no longer take being in a relationship with him. Now, if Ralph was thinking in a very cunning way, which we don't know, it did seem like he played his cards right by filing for divorce first, making it seem as if that Drew and her family could have been making their living in their marriage arrangement so difficult that he had to leave. Good thinking and good play if that was his intentions. However, we are knowing now that it was actually Drew who filed for divorce first, changing that whole narrative around. Many people, including myself, were really surprised to find that out. But it's also something else that was very surprising when Drew was releasing her statement today in regards to her and Ralph's divorce. This piece of information, I think, was the most shocking because it was never really seen or never seen on camera in this way. And the abuse I'm talking about is this. Drew alleging that she was physically abused by Ralph when he snatched the phone out of her hand, causing her to fall, was very alarming. In past seasons, watching Drew and Ralph's relationship or marriage deteriorate, we oftentimes did see Ralph lash out in a very visceral way towards Drew that showed sometimes that he had complete and utter disdain for her. And a lot of times we just chopped it up to just marriage roles or a young married couple trying to work out their marriage life. However, knowing that this alleged physical abuse could have taken place, it goes to show you that those wounds really did run deep. And that visceral disdain that Ralph appeared to have had for Drew in their marriage seemed to be more vicious than we thought. And the reason why we use the word vicious, as my sources are saying, is that everyone knows that Drew has had surgeries on her feet, and I think even her leg at some point. And so to cause her to fall that could potentially harm her even further on a very fragile body part really does show that he has a lack of regard for Drew's safety and her health, as my sources are saying. So with that being said, I can see why Drew probably wanted to get out that marriage real quick, because if someone has a lack of regard for your health and safety, that means you're pretty much out here on your own. And I think Drew realized that and probably decided to make an exit so she could get to a better living situation and one day to a better husband or helpmate who really does have her safety and his concerns. Now, with that being said, it is also another troubling detail about these new accusations that's really making a lot of people behind the scenes think, how bad was this relationship and marriage? And that new detail is this. Allegedly, there were some instances where Drew felt so unsafe around Ralph that she fled to Chicago, or even sometimes thought about fleeing to Chicago and never returning to Atlanta. Now, here's the thing. Drew has a house in Atlanta with Ralph, financial, means of her own, and she's on a hit TV reality show. So the fact that she would leave all of that behind to run to Chicago to seek safety and shelter from her husband, it really does make you think, how bad was this relationship and marriage that she had with Ralph? Now, for Ralph's part, he really does not have a good PR image if you look at the footage from the Real Housewives of Atlanta over the past couple of seasons. So it kind of makes it really hard for anyone to try to come to his defense. However, when you're hearing that a woman grabbed her kids, a bag of clothes, and fled the household, that just never turns out good for the husband. It really does paint him in a bad, negative light. And in light of knowing that Drew was knocked down to the ground because doing a vicious fight between her, or argument between her and Ralph, just does not make this situation any better. So that leaves a lot of open-ended questions. And also the question is, Was any of this alleged physical abuse caught on camera? And if so, will we see it? My sources still maintain that alleged physical abuse probably was not filmed and it probably won't air, but they're still unclear whether the cameras got any of this other mental and financial drama and abuse that Drew is alleging on camera. And if so, it will make for a very interesting watch on this upcoming season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, the next and last thing about this new information that I find very interesting is this. My big question is, did production know about this alleged abuse before they brought Ralph and Drew onto the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise? You know, a couple of people speculate that this may have been the real big draw for Drew and Ralph getting on the show and getting a second season, because producers probably could feel that they were heading down a road of divorce. However, if this is something that producers could have potentially saw coming beforehand, our next question is, if it was so bad as to what Drew is alleging, is there any point where production could have stepped in or should have stepped in, or were Drew and Ralph doing such a good job at masking the really deep and dark details of their marriage so well that production really didn't know anything about it? So that's a question that a lot of people behind the scenes are asking. And if so, to what extent did Drew use the Real Housewives of Atlanta camera to probably help plan her exit? You know, if she did, it does seem very smart, because putting her marriage on display in the public sphere and showing how her marriage was deteriorating and how Ralph treated her and how visceral he was towards her in their everyday life. If she was thinking that way, it was a very smart move, because their public documentation of Ralph making their living situation just unbearable. Now, kinfolk, Drew also talked about the financial abuse, something that I told you my sources told me, and something we talked about on yesterday. And that financial abuse, including him taking large sums of money out of their joint bank accounts and pretty much leaving Drew high and dry and destitute. Something else that was very alarming for a lot of people, especially behind the scenes, and knowing that for so long Ralph was the sole breadwinner in the family. So now my sources are trying to figure out, where does that leave Drew in the upcoming season of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Will she stay in Atlanta? Will she move back to Chicago? But my sources say we're only going to get those answers once we figure out how bad the details were about Drew and Ralph's marriage behind the scenes. But kinfolk, I want to know what you guys think. Now, we've seen some of the verbal altercations between Drew and Ralph on each season or last couple of seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta. But are you shocked, as a lot of people are, to know that things allegedly got physical? Or are you not surprised by that allegation, seeing how visceral Ralph was towards Drew during the last couple of seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Alright, kinfolk, as always, please like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.